Hello, buongiorno. My name is Annabelle. This is Ben. We are Annabelle and Ben's Antics. And today, honey, what are we doing?
We are making the long-awaited gender-swapped version of the Snow White outfit. Bit trepidatious about this one.
Do you not want to be dressed up as a Disney princess?
This was your idea, however, I was very entertained by the possibility.
Okay, so plan of action is that we are taking the picture of Snow White. We have found a few fan arts of people who have turned Princess Snow White into a prince, and we are basing our design off that, though technically ours is an original take. This is going to be good. We're making him a corset. It's going to be very fun.
I'm not sure about the trouser material that we bought, because it looks ridiculously sparkly.
Glitter is part of being a princess, Ben. Get on board!
Yeah, but the last time we did this, you were leaving sequins around the place.
Yeah, but that one was for me. We've got to do some glitter for you as well.
I'm just saying, if the room's covered in glitter by the end of this job, do not blame me.
We started the day by cleaning the sewing machine. After all those sequins, it really needed it, and once she was running nice again, it was time for the mock-up. Annabelle had duct taped me to make a pattern for the top half of my costume. However, we didn't want to use the good finished fabric yet, so we used old bed sheets to make the mock-up. So I ironed an old bed sheet and cut out both the bodice pattern we had created and the vintage trouser pattern we wanted to use. I was honestly a little surprised at just how many pieces we needed, but it was pinned and I sewed until we had something wearable.
So I've just restitched after doing the adjustments. Unfortunately, we didn't film that part, so Annabelle got me dressed up in it and helped me pin the new seam line, because the one we had like 60 millimeters of it. It was ridiculous. So we reshaped it, repinned it, we then resewed it, and this is now the finished product.
It fits. High five.
Indeed. But to be honest, I'm also going to keep this mock-up as actual trousers, because I swear to God they're very comfy.
What colour do you want to dye them?
I'm not sure yet. I was thinking of tie-dyeing them, but if you guys have any ideas, let me know in the comments, and I shall take your ideas into consideration when tie-dyeing them all.
The next day, while Ben was at work, I got out the glittery yellow fabric we had chosen and got cutting the trousers after I'd drawn out the new pattern with the adjustments we had made. I also marked up and stitched the darts and even pinned everything up for Ben to sew when he got home. Once that was done, we were then on to the top. This also needed some adjustments, so I added those to the patterns and ironed the fabric before Ben cut out the pieces. I did sew the darts for him, as that's not something he's quite got the hand of yet, and they are quite important to fit, but after that, Ben took over.
That I did, and stitched up the side seams of the trousers Annabelle had kindly pinned before going over and overlocking the raw edges to stop fraying. This is my first time using this machine and I really liked it, finding it smooth with a good rhythm and honestly easier to use than Annabelle's fancy one she has in the UK.
And while he was doing that, I was cutting a whole bunch of bias binding for this project and the next one I'm working on too.
With the sides done up, I asked Annabelle to pin and sew the waistband and then hand stitch the inside of the waistband to make it nice and neat, before trying on the trousers and getting Annabelle to pin them to the right length.
So Annabelle, what are you doing?
So I am currently just pinning your trousers to make sure they are all nice and even, as you were struggling a little bit with that, which is fine, it happens.
I wasn't just struggling because you wanted the double fold on it. I was just expecting me to do that, but no. Annabelle wanted them to do that as well.
Look, an enclosed seam, it just looks better, okay?
I mean, it looks better, but for someone who's an amateur like myself, you know, it's a bit mean.
I'm trying to be nice here, you need to learn, but so long as you're doing most of it, I'm happy to help out, which is good. So you showed them the corset design that you came
No, I was going to get you to hold it up once you've finished pinning that one.
Again, I've pinned it all, but Ben designed this boning design himself. So we'll see how it works. I think it's going to be really nice and supportive, and the whole point of it is that Ben does have, in the nicest possible way, a little bit of a stomach. It's actually gone down a lot because he's doing a lot of working out at the moment, but he likes it when he's in costume to be a little bit flatter. So we've just focused the lines to hold him in nice, but he should still have plenty of movement. But he designed this himself, and I think it's looking rather fancy. What do you think?
I like it.
With that done, I hemmed them using red thread and they came out very neat, before I moved on to the bodice. Here, I stitched the front and back pieces of the bodice together at the shoulders and sides, overlocking the raw edges as well, before realizing the boning channels were set rather tight on the lining, so I asked Annabelle to do this part for me. She then cut the boning to length and inserted it.
Once they were all in place, I pinned the front of the top of the lining and we got stitching. To help keep everything in place, I also ran a top stitch along before sealing the neckline with some bias binding. I then used used the last bit of my day to mark out the grommets and press them in as Ben wasn't feeling well, and going by our original plan, there was only a few days left before Ben wanted to wear this to a convention. Hello, good morning, and welcome back to the Madhouse, where I am currently editing a video that technically should have gone up like 2 days ago, and I'm still working on Ben's cosplay, which needs to be done also in 2 days, and I still need to do some alterations on mine ready for the competition, so yeah, looking like a bit of a busy day to say the least. So this morning I've started sewing up the grommets because we want them neat and tidy, and also because I find if I don't sew them, they tend to not be that strong and come out and ruin the outfit, and this is something that Ben really likes, so we want it to be nice for him. The other thing I have been doing this morning is patterning. So we have my Tinkerbell sleeve. I think I'm going to expand this slightly to be the puff sleeve for Ben. We have the middle part of his sleeve, which is just here. That's absolutely fine. We have this embroidery design, which I will add at some point, but I'm not sure if I'll have time to in the next few days. That is going to be going on the bodice. We have this apple design, which is going to be going on one of the front pockets on the trousers. And then we have this, which is going to be a bag, which does need to be done before the convention because we want a theme bag to carry around our drinks and stuff with. So this is the only must do in the pile of 3, other than obviously the sleeves. Ben is obviously going to be helping me with this when he gets home, but until then, wish me luck. I got stitching the grommets by hand to make it stronger and look nicer.
When I got home, I got drawing and cutting out the pattern pieces for the bag and sleeves while Annabelle pinned and mocked up everything. It took a while, but it was looking amazing. I decided I really liked working with felt.
So as you saw in a previous clip, you saw me using a big green knife. Well, unfortunately, my current sharpening gear is all stuck in boxes in the UK. So, bless Annabelle, she bought me a Christmas present. Happens to be this knife that she got at the artisans market back in the UK. It also happens to be as sharp as a razor's blade. And frankly, I'm crap with scissors, but I'm excellent with a knife. So I'm gonna trace it out and cut it out that way, because why the f not?
The applique for the bag was cut out of the original pattern, and by the way, if you wanted to make this bag as well, Annabelle had put it up as a free download on our Ko-Fi page. You can get it as part of our sewing pattern library along with the graded sewing pattern for the whole outfit on our Patreon. Link in the description below, guys. Then I ironed the leftover blue and red fabric before Annabelle cut out the bottom of the sleeve, cuff, and used the 3rd shade of blue to make what will be the straps to go over my puff sleeves.
Today, we got a few things sorted out today. So, the first one is all of the pieces behind me, which are main pieces for my sleeves, the cuffs, the lining of the cuffs, and the other side, although Annabelle has moved all the parts, I don't know where they've gone. We also got my little satchel bag that we are going to do with the cosplay on the side of it. We also had the bodice parts, which Annabelle is currently putting away. That is my shirt, and she's been working on the grommets on the back because unfortunately my hand needle work is something to be decided.
It's looking very neat, though we do need to steam it because the boning is quite curved and we need to make it a little bit straighter before you wear it, but that's an easy enough fix once you put it on.
So yeah, apart from that, we've still got a few more bits of pieces to finish, and it's kind of coming down to the deadline, isn't it, babe?
Well, if it doesn't get done tomorrow, you're not wearing it Saturday, so I think we've got a late night in for us.
And nothing that whiskey and coke can't fix.
Exactly. The next morning, I got stitching the strips of light blue for the puff sleeves before turning the tubes the right way around and ironing them flat to keep them neat and tidy. I also pinned the sleeve cuffs and lining before stitching them together. Then the curved outside line was notched to lay flat before they were turned right sides around and ironed flat before being top stitched with a decorative stitch that looked really, really good. So good that I added the decorative stitching all along the light blue fabric strips as well, a decision that took me an extra hour to do. With that done, I turned on my basting stitch, and the red puff sleeves had a gathering stitch run around the edge before I then pinned together the tight sleeve, and that got stitched, and then last of all the sleeves cuffs. I then trimmed the light blue strips to size, gathered the red puff, and began pinning the entire sleeve together before sewing it together and overlocking it for good measure for what was supposed to be an exciting reveal, but we will come back to that later. Anyway, I then zigzagged the edges of the green parts of the apple to attach the applique, and this honestly was so damn slow, but turned out so nice that I have to admit it might have actually been worth every second. So about 2 months ago, I got overly frustrated and I hung up Ben's Snow White costume because it wasn't going well. However, there is a convention coming up that Ben would like to wear this to, so of course I am picking it back up again and we are going to get it finished. But to get it finished, what do we need to do? So first things first, we have some grommets that need finishing. These sleeves need to be unpicked, this needs to be trimmed in, we need to rearrange the top puffy bit because it's just looking terrible right now. Then that can be attached to that, and that is half the battle done. Now while we were on a break, I actually did order these appliques. 2 of them came out as silver rather than gold, which is super annoying, so I might have to rebuy these maybe. Ben said he didn't really mind it being silver, but I kind of wanted everything to match, which is very frustrating. And those appliques are going to need to be sewn onto the top. Last but not least, I have some homemade appliques that need to be sewn on into the trousers and the top and everything else like that as well, so let's work with it and see how we go. First things first, I got to hand stitching those grommets, and once that was done, I unpicked my handiwork with the sleeves. As though I didn't film it, Ben put this on and it looked awful. Then I began recutting and remeasuring the light blue puff sections to try and make it work. I wasn't honestly sure I had enough of these strips to actually make this look good, as before they were so spaced out, but somehow I actually did manage it, and once they were done, we pinned the arrangement onto the lighter lower sleeve once more. So nothing is stitched, but considering the disaster that this sleeve was last time I pinned it on and I've had to do all the unpicking, I decided that I had to just quickly pin it on and see how it looks, and this is 10 times better already, and this bit isn't even pinned on properly. I haven't measured any of these, so they're not even at all. Bottom is done properly, and I think that looks really, really good. Ideally, I feel like we need to add some stiffening stuff to the red just to help it poke out a bit, but also there's currently no shoulder in here. My dressmaker's mannequin, because it's a women's one, it is a lot smaller than Ben is, so it's not sitting properly on it, but I think this is passable, and I'm going to just unpick this now, and then we can get sewing. And so I did, putting those sleeves together into place on the fitted lower as neatly as I could. Hi, hello, and welcome back. It's probably been like a 30-second break for you guys, but for me it's been about 3 months. That's 4. Oh, it probably has been about 4 months since I've worked on this project. Ben needs a cosplay. KaiCon is coming up. I've said this 2 or 3 times now that we'd get this done for him for a convention, and every time it just hasn't happened. It is happening. We have a plan. So I've just gotten the costume out. The trousers are hung there. The shirt is on there to see what we need to do. And I ordered, upon Ben's request, some nice appliques, because as much as my hand embroidery is good, it does take a lot of time and he wanted something a little bit quicker. So first things first, I think I need to get the ironing board out. We're going to apply the appliques to the top and the sleeves while they are still separate, and then we're going to sew the sleeves onto the bodice, and once that is done, essentially that is the bodice done. The collar is going to be separate so that he can wear it as a separate piece if needed, and that is what we're aiming to do today. And tomorrow we'll tackle the trousers, because that's a whole other kettle of fish that I don't want to do right now. Side note, this is going to be this month's pattern for Patreon, so if you would like a graded version of it, please check out that. The link is down below, and until then, wish me luck, because it will get done. I promise it will get done, and then once we've done this, I'm going to make myself a Snow White outfit, and we're going to do a little joint Snow White photo shoot, and it's going to be seriously cute, but this needs to be done first, people, because I've been promising Ben a new costume for nearly a year now, and it just has not happened. After fiddling for a while to figure out where I wanted to place the appliques, we made a decision and ironed it on. I then got out these red glass beads I'd found in the charity shop and started adding them around the applique for some extra detail, but also honestly to help hold it on, as I did not have time to hand stitch this puppy before the convention, and yes, I do fully intend to do this after, please don't worry. Still, it was worth it because it looked amazing. I then got going doing the same for the sleeves. They were ironed, beads added, and again looked great. Okay, so I've just finished pinning on the first sleeve and it looks 10 times better than it did before. Definitely redoing it, 110% worth it. I think it looks amazing. Ben, do you think it looks amazing?
I'm glad we finally got the applique for the front chest piece, because Jesus, it was looking boring with just that as it was.
Yes, so overall, very happy. We're on time. We're on target to get this finished today, so I'm going to sew in the first sleeve because I kind of run out of pins, and then I'm going to pin in the second, and we're going to go from there, which will be good.
Annabelle then stitched in those sleeves with great skill and only minor pin pricks to her fingers. Of course it looked amazing, but I would expect nothing less from the lady with such talent making an outfit for her Prince Charming to wear. But what had she forgotten? A modesty panel, of course, as I did not want to be showing off my naked spine to the world, so she whipped one up before collapsing into bed.
A bit tired there, Annabelle.
Turn the light off, please. Hi, hello, I would say good morning, however it is about 6 in the afternoon, so yeah, work was fine, thank you for asking, I really appreciate it. No, I am actually really enjoying doing both of the 2 jobs that I am now currently working, however, this needs getting done, so Ben pointed out to me that if the hand stitching is only going to take 5 minutes, I should just do it, so I'm going to start by chilling in bed, putting on some True Crime and sewing on the modesty panel so that the top is completely finished. After that, I am going to move on to the trousers, which will also hopefully get finished today. So wish me luck, guys. I think this is going well. The bodice looks amazing, and that has created a lot of motivation for me to get this done. Yay, let's go. Hand stitching it is. And then tomorrow is the first day of KaiCon, but we have one more day to finish this before he has to wear it on Saturday to our panel.
At that, my beloved wife turned into a bed gremlin, hunched over her project like Henry Cavill painting his miniatures at 2 AM. Still, it looked good, so in the end, who cares about her posture? Then, as she was on a hand sewing spree apparently, she stitched the buttons onto the trousers so they could be actually done up to the correct places, and she stitched the bottom holes using red thread to match the top stitching, and then she added some poppers on the inside of the fly to keep it shut. Still, I was happy with my banana yellow pants. And Annabelle, for the record, they are trousers, not pants. We are British.
So good news, we now have a wearable pair of trousers. Yay! And they actually look really nice. We had a few teething issues with trousers because trousers aren't really something that I make a lot. So I'm pleased that we have a wearable pair that looks pretty sweet. Sherlock is helping by sitting on my fabric. Of course, with the trousers, the only thing we have left to do with them is the pockets. However, one thing me and Ben wanted to do is put some apple appliques. Now, the original appliques that I cut out, they are made of cotton, meaning the edge is fray. However, when we were working, oh no, I say when we're working, we haven't finished making it yet. When we were cutting out the apple bag, we have a bunch of red felt left. What I'm going to do is cut out the last strip for the apple bag, pin all of the pieces of the bag together because that's going to need red thread and so is the trousers. And that way, in theory, we can get like 90% of the bag and the trousers done today, even if I end up having to sew it all tomorrow. Did I mention that the convention starts tomorrow? Did I mention that as well as spending the day at work tomorrow, then going to the convention, then coming home and sewing, we are wearing it the next day. So Con Crunch is at full speed and I really need a shower. I also need food because it's 9 o'clock at night and I haven't eaten yet, so that is what I am going to do. Sesame chicken, anyone?
I began by cutting out the edges of the bag and pinning the zip before stitching it on from the wrong side. A experiment that I have to say worked rather well with the non-fraying felt, as once it was done I cut through to the zip from the right side to give me access to it. With that, the excess threads were tied off and trimmed. Then we were onto the pockets where I marked out the fold lines before the felt apples were pinned onto the pieces I had cut out earlier, just below the center to leave room for the leaves. And as we were bringing out the red thread anyway, the bag was pinned inside out. If this seems to be in a weird order to you, it's because it was. I'm showing off my ADHD here, but I do love getting everything done at once, and that often means doing it in a senseless manner.
So guys, as you can see, I have a KaiCon wristband because we have just done our first day at KaiCon, and though we have a costume to finish, someone is tired because despite having a broken foot, they did a lot of walking around. Well, Shirley, I think it's you and me working on the cosplay tonight.
Of course, I started my evening by stitching the bag together, and then we just had to turn it back the right way around. An easy task, or at least it would have been had I not left the zip entirely done up. Still, after some fiddling, Ben managed to loosen it from the wrong side and we did get it open. The apples were then sewn onto the pockets with a satin stitch, something my machine seemed to despise most of the time, though for once it saw sense with the Con Crunch and stayed on its best behaviour that day as they came out great. So we pinned on the leaves. Then I got distracted by a side quest, and Ben has gone out that day and brought some red velvet for a cloak. Even though I had told him we definitely did not have time for it, I folded and pinned it in half so that I could work out exactly how to make this thing. And at that point it was so late that even Lily was asleep in my fabric basket. Having decided the shape I wanted the cloak, it was cut out under Sherlock's supervision before I stitched it right side to right side, leaving a small opening in the bottom of the cloak where it would be the least noticeable. And no, I didn't bother to overlock it. At this point it was about midnight and I could not be doing that. So I turned it the right way around and hand stitched some poppers onto the top corners. Eventually I want to hide these a bit better with some gold buckles, but honestly I'm probably going to upgrade this entire costume at some point, so for now we'll focus on function. I then stitched the pockets on with the red thread. No idea when I did the leaves, apparently I forgot to film that, so oops.
So if the audio is weird, it's because I'm not messing around to try and find the microphone for my camera because it's really late. It is 1 in the morning, Girly Bear is asleep, Sherlock is jelly beaning, and Ben is asleep. I have just finished the trousers, meaning the bodice, the trousers and the bag are all finished, and we've even managed to whip up a cloak because Ben was insistent that he really needed a cloak for this, meaning the only thing is Snow Whitey that he does not have is the collar. I wanted to do something really cool with the collar. I think that's not going to happen, so maybe this will get a part 2 where I update the cosplay, because there's some other things that I want to do on like the cloak and stuff as well, just to bring it to that next level. But I'm fairly certain that if I grab out a piece of paper, I can whip up a collar real quick that's just gonna make that look perfect. Do I need sleep? Absolutely not. Am I also doing a panel tomorrow? Yep. I don't know how much I'm going to film because I'm so tired I keep forgetting to turn on the camera, but if not, you will see it tomorrow. Good night now.
So I did film a little, and I began by drawing out a rough colour pattern, trusting it would work and cutting that puppy out of leftover extra strong interfacing that I used for my Aurora collar and peplums for my colour changing Sleeping Beauty dress. I then laid the iron-on interfacing onto the white embroidered fabric I had on hand, ironed it on before pinning everything together to create this amazing sculpture which got sewn off camera.
Good morning. It is 6 o'clock in the morning, and Ben better appreciate my efforts because I actually went to bed at about 2:45, 3 last night. But we have a collar, it just needs some hand stitching done. In fact, pretty much everything left to do is hand stitching, so I'm going to start with the must-haves and with the wood likes, and we're going to see how far we get before we have to go to the convention. So I'm going to chuck some not true crime on because I'm not allowed to listen to that while Ben is sleeping because it gives him weird dreams, and we're going to do that until it opens at about 10. I have no energy for the day thanks to this.
Given how hard Annabelle worked, I think I can take over for the voiceover from this point onwards, because for the next few hours she stitched the collar, she stitched the velcro onto the bodice to attach the collar, and she stitched some more. But with all that done, there was only one thing left to do, and that was to head off to the convention for our first panel and some photos. And side note guys, as we didn't vlog this weekend, I had to show this somewhere, as on day 2 Annabelle entered the cosplay competition and this happened.
Next, we have got the wild card, and that award goes to Annabelle as Barbie! Woo!
And yes, my beautiful wife actually won the wild card prize for her Milkshake Barbie cosplay, and I couldn't be prouder of her. Also, massive thank you to Kira Lee Cosplay who was hosting, and with that, I think it's time for a proper grand reveal of our Prince Snow White.
Ben has gone to his first convention in cosplay in Australia, and I think he looks fantastic. Also, we've unintentionally matched today. Red, yellow and blue. Red, yellow and blue. It's a good matchy thing. Got lots of compliments,
I'm not gonna lie.
didn't you?
Yes, I did, but I'm not gonna lie. I would have enjoyed it a far lot more if I didn't have to walk around on crutches.
No.
God.
It was entertaining, but he looks really good, and everyone liked the costume, and we had a good time. And you know what? It was worth staying up till 3 in the morning and getting up again at 6 to get it done. What is your favourite bit about the costume, Ben?
The cape. Cape is soft.
The
Cape is really soft.
The cape is very soft and so easy to take off and undo. Personally, I love how the puffy sleeves turned out. The only thing I'm not overly keen on is the appliques need a bit of stitching on.
Ah, but we knew that already, didn't we?
Yeah.
But I still love the beading on them.
The beading's good and the iron-on adhesive was great just for the day, but I am going to go in during our D&D session tomorrow, isn't it?
Yes, it's tomorrow.
And I am going to hand stitch around the edge of all of them, which is fine, and then other than that, we're good. The collar is detachable so it can be washed separately. The bodice is corseted, giving him a very nice figure. The lacing up the back is super neat. We do need to get him a longer shoelace because the one we got, unfortunately, we underestimated how broad Ben is.
I think that's the best way to put it.
And so we need to get a longer shoelace so that we can lace it up in one go, whereas at the moment we have to use two. And the trousers are currently leaving glitter everywhere.
That should be fun when we wash them, but I think we might have to wash them independently.
Yes.
But anyway, guys, thank you very much. We hope you enjoyed this video, and we hope that you enjoy watching the next one.
We post videos every single Wednesday, so subscribe to see that. The pattern for Ben's lovely Prince Snow White, if you would like it, is available on our Patreon. It is the pattern for this month. Go check that out. The link is in the description down below. Otherwise, have a beautiful day, and we will see you next time. Bye! As always, thanks for this video goes out to our wonderful, amazing, splendid patrons who of course get the Snow White pattern free with their membership. The patrons today are Canuck Nancy 42, Chandrila Webster, Anna, Ganny Medrose, and Kelly Nelson. Thank you guys, you make these videos possible, and as always, we love you, we appreciate you, and I hope you have a beautiful day.